Hello everyone, I'm Penrose776. It's Mythic Banners Day. You know those are my favourite because, well, I play A4 raids all the dang time. Mythics are really important, and oh, hello, Demon King Fomortiis. Yes! Oh, and wait a second, Anima Mythic? That's weird. I was expecting a Light Mythic this season, because that's next in the cycle, right? Light Mythic, right? But, no Anima. Okay, I mean, we just got Arvel, but, sure, I don't mind having another Anima Mythic right away. And Fomortiis, a couple things I saw there. One, has the whole Demon King art going on. That's really interesting, because I think this is the first unit we've had in FEH whose full art is of their demon or beast or dragon or whatever form. Even like Grima and various other characters who mainly walk around in transformed evil forms, their character screen art is still like mostly human. But no, this is full-on Demon King Fomortiis all the way, even on his character art. Secondly, yep, he is an Anima Season Mythic, not what we were expecting, but it is the season that needs it the most, so I'll take it. Anima Season Mythic, and he is a colourless beast armour. Interesting that all the armoured beasts have been colourless so far. And also a Speed Mythic, which, well, I mean, res mythics are still the most valuable because of all the nonsense that's going on, but speed, we can work with speed. Anyway, let's take a look at his weapon first, and I'm really excited for this guy as well, by the way. I love the villains. I hope we get Nurgle soon, actually. Ravager is his weapon. Cool name. Accelerates special trigger cooldown count -1 at start of combat. If unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, inflicts special cooldown charge -1 on foe, or per attack on foe, and attack defense -6 on foe during combat. Only highest value applied, does not stack. And also, if unit is transformed, grants special cooldown charge +1 per attack to unit during combat. Again, only highest value applied, does not stack. If unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25% at start of combat and foe initiates combat, reduces damage from foe's follow-up attack by 80% during combat. For standard weapons, follow-up attack means for second strike. For weapons that grant unit attacks twice, it means for third and fourth strikes. At start of turn, if unit is adjacent to only beast or dragon, okay, so the armored dragon, armored beast rather, transform condition, it transforms, grants attack +2, and distant counter. Okay, so breaking it down fully, slaying, guard, attack defense -6 on foe, in addition to the guard, breath if you're transformed, so that adds together to like a whole special fighter if you're transformed, and reduces foe's follow-up damage by 80%, and of course the beast transform condition. Reminds me a lot of Brave Edelgard here. I mean, minus Edelgard's whole movement shenanigans, but still, the whole 80% damage reduction on follow-up, that's a very Brave Edelgard thing. The guard is, and the attack defense -6, I think, remind me of her refine, and also the slaying. It's all very Edelgard. Special is Bonfire. This is going to be a high defense unit, to no one's surprise, probably. I mean, if you are surprised, then go ahead and be surprised, but I'm not surprised. In the A slot, a PRF-A skill, Nightmare. If foe initiates combat or foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75% at start of combat, inflicts attack defense -10 on foe during combat. That's big. And reduces damage from foe's first attack during combat by 30%. If foe initiates combat, after combat, the closest foes within 4 spaces of target who have yet to act have their actions end immediately. Well, hey, Saver is not the only person who can do that to people anymore, apparently. We now have on defense, this guy, if you fight him, He just shuts down whoever's standing closest to you. Blam, you get no action anymore. Have a great day. Okay. Yeah, so this guy obviously built as a kind of tank, armored, so save tank, and designed to just shut down any extra actions they might have after initiating into you. Cool. Plus, 30% damage reduction on the first hit, 80% damage reduction on the follow-up. In a normal combat, this guy isn't even taking one whole attack's worth of damage. 30%, so he's taking 70% on the first attack, 20% on the second attack. That's only 90%. If they don't have DR Shred, this guy's going to be absurdly tanky, regardless of how many attacks you're making. And for B slot, Beast follow-up free. Removes the condition to transform. Unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack during combat. So another one of the Beast transformation skills, another one of the Beast enabling skills. This one designed to work a lot better on slow beasts, because the previous ones have been, well, there was Beast Kanto and there was Beast, the one that Embla has. But anyway, both of those were very much fast beast skills. This is more of a slow beast skill. It's giving you a guaranteed follow-up attack. Just whenever, wherever, you get one. Have fun with it. Obviously, good for allowing his transformation as a mythic, because Aetheraids teams especially, you're normally going to be forced to put your units adjacent to 3 or 4 other units. Well, not 4, because there's not enough room to put a unit adjacent to 4 other units on an Aetheraids defense team. There's only 2 columns, or 2 rows. You can't put a unit both above and below. But you're going to be, most of the time, adjacent to 2 or 3 units, and it's very hard to position that so that you're adjacent to specifically beasts or dragons to get your transformation requirement, unless you're running a whole beast, whole dragon team, which isn't really particularly practical in the current meta game. So having those beast skills to allow a transformation on an Aetheraids defense team specifically, very strong. In the C slot, attack defense fast save free. So we've seen this before. Interesting actually that they've gone fast save here. The reason I say that is because although this guy is very strong, right, I think, personally, his kit makes a stronger near saver. Why do I say that? 1, he relies heavily on damage reduction for survivability. He doesn't have, like, armor, armor effective damage negation. He wants beast follow-up in his B slot to get his transformation so that he can counterattack. In other words, he's not normally going to be running Hardy necessarily. You can run Hardy, but he can't counterattack. So maybe that's a possible build, but he's got basically a whole bunch of non-special damage reduction as his key survivability tool. Now, he doesn't have any follow-up prevention. He has a huge damage reduction on follow-up, but he doesn't prevent follow-ups, right? In other words, against ranged units, this guy is going to be taking follow-up attacks if he doesn't immediately kill on the counter-attack. And that's the problem, because fast save is where you're running into all the DR Shred in this game. Daggers have it in the form of lethality, bows have it in the form of Deadeye. A lot of ranged units nowadays will want to run Special Spiral 4 as well for DR Shred. At close range, you just don't have the same problem. Close range threats are stuff like Summer Edelgard, Brave Seliph, that sort of thing. They might have null follow-up, but they generally don't have room in their kit to run any form of DR Shred. Either they don't have room or they literally can't. And even if they can, normally they don't want to, because your close range strategies will often rely on tools like Gale Force as well, which you can't really rely on something like Special Spiral 4 if you're using Gale Force, because it's a non-damaging special, right? Obviously, he's still going to struggle with stuff like Legendary Nana, but that's basically it in terms of big close-range threats that can actually do something about damage reduction, right? Everything else, if they're putting skills into their kit to deal with damage reduction, they're losing something else that they need to beat you down, whether it's null follow-up, whether it's tempo, whether it's canto, whether it's any of that stuff. They just can't deal with you. So, near range, and also the other thing is, Gale Force strategies are the ones that are more likely to be really heavily impacted by ending the actions of random units on their team, right? Like Hit and Run, sure, you can take one unit's action, but they still, because they're engaging from one space further away, they still have a pretty easy time getting back out again. Gale Force, if they want to keep going in, yeah, they're going to have problems with random units getting shut down, especially if you can make him tanky enough to take more than one combat. There isn't a once per turn limit on this, right? So if you're putting multiple combats into this guy, he's shutting down multiple units. So yeah, I think personally they gave him the wrong save on his kit. That being said, I actually kind of appreciate them putting the wrong save on his kit for one specific reason. Everyone will be expecting to run into Fomortiis on Anima Season, right? Your Astra teams, if you don't have a team that can deal with base kit Fomortiis, you have an issue on your hands. So everyone will be expecting to see base kit Fomortiis on people's teams. They probably aren't expecting to run into near save Fomortiis necessarily. So basically what I'm saying is I've got the element of surprise when I inevitably inherit near save on this guy and run him in place of Brave Edelgard, who again, his kit is very, very similar to. So I think he'll be a strong replacement there. Anyway, yeah, I love this character. Very cool. Great addition for Anima Season. Cool artwork, cool kit, cool guy. Fun little niche. Love it. Let's see what his animations are like, because I bet they're great too. Oh, he's angry. Oh, and they're showing off the features. Whoa! Did he just punch that guy?
Despair for the living.
Oh, he did. I love that they brought that animation back from Sacred Stones. Wait, another one? Gotoh? Wait.
And I had sworn to let the affairs of this world proceed without me.
We two of them? Sure. Okay. Here's the Light Season Mythic I was expecting. I was not expecting 2 Mythics on this banner. I'll put that out there right now. Was not expecting 2 Mythics. This is a very interesting development. And Gotoh as well. Another cool guy. Like, Mythic Banner is already one of my favourite banners. This might have gone up to, like, just flat out one of my best banners of the year. Admittedly, there haven't been that many banners of the year so far, but this is pretty near the top. Okay, Gotoh. Light Season Mythic. Colourless Tome Infantry. So, there's been a lot of them recently, but another one never hurts. Armed with the brilliant Starlight. Accelerate special trigger, cooldown count -1. At start of turn, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants defense res +6, and reduces damage from area of effect specials by 80%, excluding rogue of area effect specials, to units and allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. And at start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, inflicts attack res -6 on foe during combat, neutralizes bonuses to foes attack res during combat, neutralizes effects that prevent units counterattacks, and restores 7 HP to unit after combat. Okay, so supportive part of the kit first. Defense res +6 as visible buffs, and area of effect specials reduced by 80%. So, there's one unit in the game who does this already. It's Nagi. Nagi does this. However, now everyone does this. Now you can become double Nagi. And, well, I mean, you can become double Nagi by applying this status to Nagi. Put this on Nagi, and suddenly Nagi is taking exactly 4% of the damage he should from area of effect specials, which I think is very funny. But everyone else can still basically completely shut down area of effect specials, which is good news for people dealing with cav lines, for one, because Legendary Lilina is a pretty common cav line pick, and people dealing with specific tanks who don't like getting hit by AoEs is the other one. Like, saves can dodge AoEs pretty easily already, but on Dark Season, it's a little harder to do that because, well, you've got Embla in reality, and so you're going to have to rely more on solo tanks instead, and those solo tanks can't dodge AoEs because they're right in the middle of them. So for that matter, Gotoh's a really good support. In addition, saying what I did about anti-cav line, the other half of his weapon is kind of a turbo lull, bit of healing, and, very excitingly, Null Sea Disrupt. So, a lot of those other cav line threats, your wind or water sweep units, your legendary Veronica, for example, Gotoh can, well, I don't know if he can tank them yet, but he can definitely, what he can do, is counterattack against them. And 7 HP after combat as well, just a little bit of healing. Pretty good. Iceberg is his special, so a high res stat. In the A slot, Gift of Magic. If you initiates combat or foe's range is equal to 2, inflicts attack res -10 on foe during combat. Unit makes a guaranteed follow-up attack, and also if unit receives consecutive attacks, reduces damage from foe's second attack onwards by 80%. Foe with range equals 2 initiates combat, and foe can make a follow-up attack. Foe makes a follow-up attack before unit can counterattack. I would say that's a very weird effect, but we've seen this one before. We've seen it on... Does anyone remember? That's right, it's Brave Ike. It's interesting. I don't necessarily know if this is actually good for him. Like, obviously, for deflect ranged, well, attack res -10 is great. That's a bit more stats than you normally get from an A slot. Great for a PRFA slot. Deflect range, cool. Very useful against, for instance, grave weapons, which there's a decent amount of out there. Go ahead, deflect them. The Brave Ike effect, on the other hand, could be more of a liability than an upside. I mean, obviously, it makes sense. You're giving them consecutive attacks so that you get the full string of 80%. But if you're up against ranged units, I said this on Fomortiis, I'm saying it again here, those are the ones who have good access to DR Shred, Deadeye, Lethality, Special Spiral 4, so do you really want to give them all their attacks first, just so you can rely on damage reduction when you don't know if that damage reduction is actually going to hold up at all? Something to think about. In the B slot, Guard 4 at the start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, also they lowered the HP requirement, inflicts attack -4 and special cooldown charge -1 on foe per attack during combat, and reduces damage from foe's first attack during combat by 30%. Okay, cute. So, Guard not being tied to a pretty tough HP condition is great for units that want to run Guard and want to run Guard for more than one combat, because the first combat knocks you out of Guard's HP range. No longer is that a problem. It's also getting a bit of stats, attack -4, cool, and then 30% damage reduction is just a really nice cherry on top. So I think that's a pretty decent improvement on how Guard used to be. Guard 4 seems like just one of the best all-around defensive B slots for units that want to have Guard. And in the C slot, Joint Distant Guard, which we've seen before, but it's, grants defense res +4 to allies within 2 spaces, and if you're within 2 spaces, grants defense res +4 to you, so long as you're fighting at distant range against a ranged unit. Like, you know what ranged units are, okay? I don't need to explain this to you. So yeah, I think all in all, not necessarily the strongest unit, not quite on Arvel level or Fomortiis level or Embla level or any of those units, but he has a niche position. Like, he's designed to tank ranged units. He can't tank every ranged unit. In fact, quite a lot of ranged units can cut through him, but there are certain types of ranged units he can tank very well, and AoE ranged units he also doesn't really worry about. So use him carefully, is what I'm saying, but, well, he's not useless. He's got a very clear niche. I still think I prefer Fomortiis. Also, both of these guys are colourless, so colourless is looking really juicy right now. Let's watch his animations again. Oh, I like his sprite as well. Yeah, that's really cool with the flutteriness, and he's kind of making a big flash of light. Not quite as fun as Fomortiis just freaking punching you, but... And yeah, that's pretty dang tanky, looking at what he's doing to Letizia here. Oh, so I guess Fomortiis is untransformed. So, oh, Edelgard, by the way, Dimitri, Freya, Regin, Ulla, Hilda, Leaf, Ascendant Leaf, I think, Monica, okay, Arvel, oh, colourless looking good, Legendary Veronica, and that's all of them. So yeah, I guess Fomortiis' untransformed sprite is still Scrunkly Lion, but they can't pronounce his name consistently, so I don't have to either. But he still gets the transformed version in his artwork. Not that you're going to be seeing his untransformed sprite too often anyway, because need I remind you, he's got that Beast B slot, so he's going to be transformed all the dang time. Anyway, colour by colour. Let's start with the big one. Colourless, godlike. All three of the units on colourless, well, you've got the best Anima Mythic in the game, probably the second best Anima Mythic in the game as well, and Gotoh, who might not be one of the strongest light mythics, but as I said before, has a niche. And plus, as an offense mythic, you want a copy of him at least just have in your rotation, because again, the bonus hero, there's always going to be one of the offense mythics for the season in that bonus hero slot. Just makes your life scoring wise a little easier. So yeah, colourless is godlike. Any of these characters I'd be very happy to get on colourless, and honestly, I'm hoping to get a whole bunch of all of them. You know, Fomortiis, I can run, Arvel merges, beautiful, Gotoh, give me a copy. More copies I can also use. I'm sniping colourless, probably. But let's look at the other colours as well. Red, I think, is the next most valuable here. That is... I think that's Arcane Leaf, right? That's not regular Leaf, that's Arcane Leaf. I think that's the Arcane version. But yeah, Red has Regin, who is still absurdly useful. Canto 3 is huge. I mean, obviously you've got to watch out for Canto Control, but it's Canto 3. It's... you break buildings, go snipe units, hide wherever you want. Canto 3. Gotta love it. And Regin, despite being incredibly useful still, also, again, offense mythics, good for scoring. I keep saying this, it's still true. Regin, probably the least useful unit on red, because Legendary Veronica, you've seen how scary Legendary Veronica can be, assuming you've been playing this game recently, because she's pretty popular, and she shreds most things. And Arcane Leaf is still just really good value as an arcane unit, because you get him and you also get great fodder, so that's a beautiful combination. Next up, I'd say blue, maybe? Yeah, let's go blue, because... okay, it is a tough one. Blue and green are both kind of not necessarily the greatest to pull on, but I think blue is stronger overall, because Monica actually has some really nice fodder, if I recall correctly. Ulla, offense mythic, so has that value, but also still shreds a lot of things. Like, she's not run particularly commonly because she's not great in hit and run scenarios, but she does still kill most things offensively, and sometimes that's all you need. And Legendary Dimitri, currently not the strongest Dimitri. That goes to Brave Dimitri, but he is out there. You can do things with him, and he's definitely not a unit to be slept on, even though he's not the strongest Dimitri. I've had a lot of use for him in Roka Sieges, for instance, where he, with Atrocity, gets to just completely ignore the whole mechanic of Rokas blasting you all the time. So that's been nice. Green, well, Ascendant Hilda is pretty nice, has that green skill in a B slot, I think. I'm not making that up, I hope. Which you really want to inherit. Of course, it's an Ascendant unit, floor it on the table. Freya is decent, probably one of the weakest light mythics out there. Not completely useless, but you can do better. But the reason I'd put green lowest is Legendary Edelgard, who has kind of fallen off the face of the planet, mainly because there exists an Edelgard who does everything Legendary Edelgard does, but better. Her name is Summer Edelgard. And if you compare Legendary Edelgard and Summer Edelgard, Legendary Edelgard just kinda looks sad. Now, Legendary Edelgard I expect is gonna get a really strong remix, or, well, so long as her remix isn't absolutely awful, she'll be really strong, but I don't know if pulling on a banner for a character just in case they get a good remix is necessarily the right move. Plus, that's in the future. That's quite a long way in the future. There's a bunch of other legendaries between here and there, right? So, I've said before, don't pull on a colour on these banners unless you want all the units on this colour. And green, I don't really want Legendary Edelgard, so if possible, avoid pulling green. Well, anyway, yeah, I think I'm probably going to be sniping colourless, or maybe colourless and red? Not sure yet, but hoping to get, at the very least, a Fomortiis, hopefully a Fomortiis, a Gotoh, and a whole bunch of Arvel merges, because I adore Arvel. Let me know what you guys are thinking about this banner. Were you surprised to see 2 mythics? I sure as hell was. Do you like them? Are you going to pull for them? How do you think these are going to affect the trout population? Thanks everyone for watching. Remember that I am fueled by likes and subscriptions. They wake me up in the morning. Well, not the morning, because these banners come out at like 3 AM. Well, I guess that technically is the morning. But anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll see you all next time. Penrost out.